folks. Welcome to the Sunday Shift Report. The crap has hit the fan. So today I got a few things for you, but this will not be a very long premiere from what I'm gathering. But all in all, I want to share some of this information with you, my viewers. A couple of things I want to get up, talk to you guys real quick up front is one, I will not be in the premiere. I got a call just a short time ago from my father who needs my assistance. So I got to go to my pops' house and help him out. So that being said, I do apologize that I will not be in there. I will watch the premiere once I get home this evening and read comments and stuff like that down below. Mods, if you guys can, if anybody was wondering where Grey is, just let him know that I had to go help my dad out. I appreciate that. And I'll also mention it at the end of the premiere as well. But I want to thank everyone for being here, and I truly appreciate all your guys' support. I really do. And if you haven't hit that thumbs up button, I truly appreciate that. But I know I should save that for the end, right? Because what about if I say something that someone doesn't like? But anyways, you guys know how we roll here on the Grey community. Anyways, folks, there's a few things I want to talk about, and specifically, one that's kind of heartbreaking. I'm going to save that for the end. But I want to talk about, we talk a lot about food and stuff like that, because I have a little bit, I want to give you a little perspective on Taiwan. Something that's culminating in the UK. The UK is about to get hit here in October. The UK is going to get into a bad situation, and there's a couple things I want to add to that. And then there's a story about a Marine that I want to share with you and how they're slowly, basically weakening our military. So let's start with the whole rice situation, because food, right? We all need sustenance, and food is huge. Our farmers here in the U.S. have been screaming at the top of their lungs of all kinds of different issues in regards to what's coming in the fall. And as we see other countries start to face things like recession, inflation, food shortages, droughts, and everything associated that we've been talking about for quite some time, it's turning into a world situation. No matter how much that our government seems to portray that everything is okay and everything is all right, I feel like they're lying to the American people, and I hate when they do that. I feel honesty is the best key, but when it comes to politicians, you folks know that that's not going to happen. Anyways, so I want to jump over to India real quick and kind of show you a situation that's brewing that's going to affect not just India, it's going to affect the rest of the globe. So here on the screen here, it says, situation is really precarious. World's largest rice exporter faces output decline amid heat wave. And a lot of you folks have been dealing with this heat wave even here locally. The temperatures have been skyrocketing everywhere. It's, to me, one of the hottest summers it's been in a long time. But, we had to deal with it as it comes. And like when I was on the live stream, was it on the live stream with Rudy? I think we were talking about the way the UV rays have been very, very potent lately, you know what I mean, and it's affecting a lot of different plants. A lot of you folks, have gardens and whatnot, and you guys are probably dealing with it firsthand. So let's kind of dive into this. It says the effects of elevated fruit prices have rippled worldwide and forced governments to impose price controls and trade restrictions. Price increases are due to supply constraints driven by several variables, including high energy prices, geopolitics, and weather. Basically the political aspect of things, weather, and the cost of energy. Anyways, Ukraine restarted maritime transport of crops to the rest of the world, forcing grain prices to slip through, though the food crisis is far from over. Because I think they've had about 6 to 8 ships move out of Ukraine, delivering grains to certain places around the globe out from them. Things were on hold for quite some time. Supposedly they're resolving some of their issues, but anyways, per this article, it says the food crisis is far from over, which I can concur with and agree. Anyways, it says we pointed out in April that the next challenge for the global food supply could be a plunge in rice production. Fast forward months later, and our suspicions appear to be right, as India, the world's largest rice exporter, has seen planting areas of crop decline by 13% due to heat waves and drought. So like I said, it's everywhere, folks. Anyways, India accounts for 40% of the global rice trade, and a decline in production will complicate India's domestic inflation fight because they're dealing with inflation there. UK is dealing with inflation. Inflation is everywhere, folks. Anyways, it could result in export restrictions leading to few supplies for the rest of the world. We've seen India do this a while back. I think we talked about it here on this channel, and you've probably seen it elsewhere as well. Anyway, so I wanted to kind of show you this graph associated with this article here. It says India accounts for 40% of global rice trade, like we had just said. And this is 2021 to 2022. So India, 22 million tons of rice comes out of there, right? The U.S., 3 million tons. So folks like always say that, oh, well, we have rice here. What do we care? This is why, folks. 3 million tons of rice compared to 22 million tons of rice. And then if you look at Pakistan, 5 million, Vietnam, 7 million, Thailand, 7 million, and then you add the rest of the world at 12 million. Others, that's what I'm assuming, the rest of the world. I'm making that observation, right? Anyways, so this is a big portion of the rice industry, you know what I mean? So either, again, we're going to see higher increase in cost of rice, we're going to see less of it on the shelves, we're also going to probably see some of that shrinkflation, or shrinkflation as they like to call it, when you used to be able to buy, let's say, a 25-pound bag of rice for, let's say, I'm just throwing numbers out there, folks, 25 bucks. And now you're going to see a 20-pound bag rice for 25 bucks. Pay attention to the volume that you're buying, and you'll notice that shrinkflation it's all over the grocery stores at this point. Anyways, moving on. It says, in the last 2 weeks, prices in India have soared more than 10% into top growing states such as West Bengal, Odisha, and I can't pronounce that one, so we're going to skip over it, due to the lack of rainfall and crop output concerns. A director of Sponge Enterprises, a rice trader, told Bloomberg he expects export prices to reach $400 a ton by next month, from $365 this week. So you're going to see the cost increase there. Rice feeds half of humanity and is vital for political and economic stability across Asia. So the rice trade itself provides that stability in Asia. So that, you have to understand when certain things get, let's say the Middle East, how oil kind of provides stability for them per se, right? Certain countries depend on certain exports and imports on how they do their business. Well, rice is a huge thing over in the continent of Asia. Anyways, supply disruptions due to potential trade restrictions by India could create shortages and rising prices elsewhere. There's still hope crop output could recover as the monsoon season is expected to produce normal rainfall, though, through September. However, some farmers sounded the alarm. Output is expected to drop significantly. So the farmers, again, they're trying to warn folks about what may happen. And the big issue there is, it seems like a lot of countries don't listen to their farmers. And the whole reason behind that article is, a lot of us folks here in the emergency preparedness community, we stockpile rice. It's one of our key components to our preps, right? We get our 5-gallon buckets, our Malabar bags and stuff. Some of us use food savers, but rice is one of those staples to fill your belly during an emergency situation. Rice and beans per se, right? Anyways, so just something to pay attention to. It's with anything, if you have the option to buy rice now, that's something that you might want to look into before these things, especially before the fall. The fall, I think we're going to see a lot of issues, and we'll talk about that as well, what's happening over in the UK, which I think we might want to jump over there real quick before we go to Taiwan. But, folks, it's better to just keep on prepping and doing what you're doing in regards to your food pantry and whatever supplies that you're trying to shore up as we move into the fall of 2022. And something was just brought to my attention via here, and I'll talk about that at the end as well. I see it pop up, and I'll touch on it real quick. But anyways, so I want to talk about the UK. So I'm going to throw up this article right here, and this could be disturbing because, folks, the UK annually, their prices are going, I think it's going to jump up, what is it? Some people have said anywhere from 70% to 150%, which equates to about $4,200 annually. When you add that to the average price of the UK, it's just, most folks can't afford it. Now, you have certain people vying for position in the political realm of things in the UK, trying to say, well, we're going to give you subsidies and stuff like that. But a lot of the economists over there are saying it's not going to do very much for the citizens of the United Kingdom. But so my heart goes out to those folks out there. I have a lot of folks that watch here with us in the Grey community that are from the United Kingdom. And sometimes those folks will let me know what's going on. Basically, I think Mark has a lot of information that he shares down in the comment section of what's transpiring in the UK. So I always appreciate reading his comments. Anyways, let's get into the article. It says UK on the brink of energy disaster as Norway could cut power to Britain over lack of rain. So this is Norway could possibly cut power to Britain. It's crazy how things are playing out, right? Because I think, is it in this? Yeah, okay, it is in this article. So it says, Ukraine energy may cause fragmentation of unity, says Melvin. In October, the UK's energy prices are expected to rise by 70%, taking average annual household dual-fuel bills covering both gas and electricity to more than £3,359, which if you equate that, it's a little under $4,000 in the US dollars. Countries across Europe have seen energy prices rise following the increase in wholesale prices, which has been blamed on Russia. Now, here in this article, this is quite intriguing to me. It says, well, the UK only relies on Russia for 4% of its usage. So 96% is, the UK is reliant 96% elsewhere. It's only reliant on Russia for 4%. So why do they blame Russia? It doesn't matter to me at this point. It's just a political thing that people like to use to blame anything on someone else other than blaming it on themselves and the way they run their country. Anyways, its sources across the continent have begun refusing to send energy due to the rising cost. Just like how India is probably not going to send out rice due to the whole situation there, other countries are dealing with energy crises and are not going. They're going to reserve that energy for themselves in their country versus exporting it to other countries. Anyways, it says now power supplies from Norway to Britain could be curtailed because of the lack of rain, according to the country's energy minister. Terje Asland said Norway plans to limit electricity exports because the hydropower reservoirs used to generate 90% of its supplies are low. He told energy news site Montel, "We are looking at how to limit exports in situations where the reservoir filling becomes critically low. Then we must secure enough power for our national consumptions." So you're seeing a lot of people cut back on exports of food and energy and things like that because they're trying to say, okay, well, we need to worry about our people. We need to worry about our country in regards to, because and the reason I say this, the reason a lot of countries are trying to do this is because if they don't, you'll see things like Sri Lanka, right? You'll see issues like that arise, that you'll see economic strife and how that can destroy a political government and by the people per se, you know what I mean? Hopefully I got that right. I'm trying to see if I said it appropriately for it makes sense. This is only my second cup of coffee. It's been an extremely busy morning, so I'm not all there. But we're going to keep on moving forward. But anyways, and that being said, there's a thing here. I just caught this on Twitter, and I wanted to share it out. And you can go to this website for the people out there in UK. It's quite interesting. But it says, millions of us won't be able to afford food and bills this winter. We cannot afford to let this happen. We demand reduction in bills to an affordable level. We will cancel our direct debits from October 1st if we are ignored. The campaign starts now with your help. So this is a campaign to try to get 1 million people in the UK to not pay their high energy bills come October 1st if they keep on increasing it. And just imagine that. Just imagine if they can get, I know that they're up to like 75,000, but if they can get 1 million people not to pay their energy bill, imagine the repercussions of that on the government. Just saying, people have power, and people have more power than they grasp sometimes. You know what I mean? Anyways, the plan. It's simple. We are demanding a reduction of energy bills to an affordable level. Our leverage is that we will gather 1 million people to pledge not to pay if the government goes ahead with another massive hike on October 1st, which the government is planning on doing. I haven't heard anything that counteracts that yet. Mass non-payment is not a new idea. It happened in the UK in the late 80s and 90s when more than 17 million people refused to pay the poll tax, helping bring down the government in reversing its harshest measures. So the people used the power of their finances to stop a situation from becoming something. So just think about that for a minute, folks. That goes to show you that we, the people, have a lot more power than you would assume. A lot of folks, oh, there's nothing I can do, and they just deal with it. No, there's a lot you can do, and in the masses, you can do tremendously a lot more. It all starts with the one person, right? Anyways, it says even if a fraction of those of us who are paying by direct debit stop our payments, it will be enough to put energy companies in serious trouble, and they know this. We want to bring them to the table and force them to end the crisis. Here's how we think we can get there. And of course, you can check this out. I think if you go to their website, I guess I'll put it down in the description for any folks that are interested in this, a link to this, to their website. But I wanted to share that because it was quite intriguing, and I was thinking to myself, that's pretty cool that the populace of the United Kingdom are trying to put something together to say no, we're done. This is not going to work for us. We don't want to see our families starve. We don't want to pay more money than we make in energy and food costs. Excuse me. Anyways, so let's move on to Taiwan. So this whole thing with Pelosi and Taiwan and all that stuff like that, who does it truly affect? You know what I mean? And why did she go over there? That's a lot of questions a lot of people are asking. You know what I mean? And some people are saying, well, China's not doing much. It was all hot air per se, right? Even with the what they're doing out there with their what's it called, their military exercises and stuff like that, and flexing their military might. But I want to show you guys something. I'll put it up on the screen here. And it says, this basically is who relies on Taiwanese trade. That's I guess the big picture, right? Because it's all about money and trade and commodities and all that stuff like that. So here is a graph, or kind of somewhat of not really a graph, but a graphical image of who relies on Taiwanese trade. So this is as of 2021. 2022 is might have gone up or down, who knows. Anyways, but if you look at the numbers and you start with some of the smaller numbers, like South Africa at 1.6 billion, Brazil at 4.3 billion, Saudis at 8.8, and then we move over to Australia and Germany. Australia's at 9.6 billion, Germany's at 20.7 billion. Then you have Japan, which is relatively pretty high, 85.6, but then we go over to the good old US of A, 105.7 billion. Now, some of the research I've done is it's up to about 200 billion at this point in 2022. So to me, this kind of gives me the picture of why she went over there, because of how America relies on Taiwanese trade. But there's another underlying picture here, and I'm really curious to see how this plays out. Because some of us, unless you do the research, we're just like, oh, she went over there, she started some crap, this is what's happening. No, I like to look, I guess, under the covers and see, why. Why are they doing this? What's happening? What is the whole root cause? And what do they get out of this? There's always an end game to every situation. Anyways, 105.7 billion. So the U.S. relies heavily on Taiwanese trade. And what's funny about that is, so I was wondering, so there's a couple things that China is doing right now. So I guess they're putting restrictions on Taiwan. Also, they're refusing, which I thought that was really intriguing. I didn't know this, but they're refusing sand. And what I mean by sand is China usually exports sand over to Taiwan. I'm trying to think okay. China tries to export, they export sand over to Taiwan, and basically silica, which is used for, chip manufacturing. Now, that wasn't a big thing, as I know they get most of their sand, about 40% from Australia, which I thought was intriguing. So they have that thing going there with Australia and Taiwan. I think it was about 40% or so of sand gets shipped from Australia over to Taiwan. And a lot of this is used for chip manufacturing and a few other things. But, and there's all kinds of different trade restrictions that are happening to Taiwan right now. Nothing, I think it's a huge major blow, but it's intriguing to see what China is trying to do, because China's in another situation where they're having the Charlie Victor, the health crisis, another round of that, and they're shutting down ports again, which of course is going to exacerbate the supply chain issue again for the third or fourth or fifth time, or wherever we're at with that whole situation. Anyways, one thing that I noticed, and I don't have an article, a graphical thing to throw up on the screen here, but it says many Taiwan-based companies operate factories in mainland China. So a lot of Taiwanese businesses, their factories are in China, in the mainland, and I thought it was intriguing because how it all plays out. Because if China decides, okay, if they get, I guess, irritated enough per se, you know what I'm saying? I think a way to relay this information is they could affect those businesses. Now, some people say, well, they won't, due to the fact that it's beneficial to them to have those businesses there. But just to think if the Chinese could control the entire market of, or the majority of the market of chip manufacturing. That's why I think Taiwanese plays a big part of this because, and you know, I just read another article that I think in Texas they're trying to create this billion-dollar chip plant so that we are not dependent on other countries. Because if I'm thinking they have the forethought that something is going to happen here eventually with Taiwan, I guess we'll see. Anyways, but I thought it was intriguing that that many of the Taiwanese factories, that there's a lot of them that operate over in the mainland in China. It says Taiwan business received 201. Yeah, see, I was correct. $200 billion in U.S. export orders, according to the U.S. Congressional Research Service. Anyways, I thought it was intriguing in the fact that so the Taiwanese is trying to be independent from China, right? But they have a lot of their businesses over on mainland China, and I'm just really curious how all this will play out once the Chinese finally decide to either make a move or not make a move, and how the rest of the world is going to see them. Just like how when people were waiting to see what happened with Russia and Ukraine, you know, and then all of a sudden, you know, Russia was having a lot more issues dealing with the Ukrainians as they were trying to invade and do their thing. And people were like, "Oh, look, we thought Russia was going to take over Ukraine in just a couple of hours or a couple of days." You know, Russia's weak, and you know all the stuff like that that came out, you know, in the memes and in the media and so on and so forth. And if you notice, a lot of that's dropped off, even though the U.S. has just sent another $1 billion over to Ukraine, which I think is quite interesting, because where is all this money going? Is there any accountability for all the billions and billions and billions of dollars that are going to the Ukrainians and to Zelensky? I'm just wondering if there's any accountability there. Because if you look at the history of the Ukraine government, there was a lot of corruption and a lot of foul play per se, right? Anyways, so back to the whole China and Taiwan situation, and I've already seen some issues arise from some U.S. manufacturers, basically trying to boycott China per se, already starting, and some of the restrictions that we here in the U.S. are trying to impose on China. It's very intriguing to see how this goes, because you know, the U.S. and China depend heavily on each other for a lot of different things, through the economy and through their exports and imports and stuff like that. So I don't know. It's something to watch. All-out war? I don't know. I just don't see it. You know, I was reading an article not too long ago in regards to if China decided to invade Taiwan, even with our ships out and about, they could launch, I think, 3 missiles to Taiwan before anybody could even get involved into it, and to get everybody and to get the U.S. postured in the right position to protect Taiwan would come a little bit too late per se, as they say, even with our Pacific Fleet out there and whatnot. So I don't know. It's something to watch, and like I said, they have 18 months to pull it off with the current administration. I know I went a little bit long on that one. Just because I'm intrigued by how all this is playing out, and I'm always wondering. I'm a very inquisitive person, so I'm always wondering, why does this person do this, and why does this country doing that? It's just not. It can't be on the whim. You know what I mean? There's always a reason by why people do what they do. Excuse me. One quick thing that like I said, before I get to the thing with our military, excuse me, is that the what is it called? The Inflation Reduction Act. I just got a notification while I was sitting here talking to you guys down here, and I brought my notification up so that I can see it real quick and read it to you guys, I guess. And a lot of you folks probably already know this because it's probably going to be all over the news within the next 15 minutes. or so. It says the U.S. Senate passed a sweeping $430 billion bill intended to fight climate change, lower drug prices, and raise some corporate taxes on Sunday. A major victory for Corn Pop that Democrats hope will aid their chances of keeping control of Congress in this year's elections. The primary should be truly intriguing. I'm really seeing how this is going to play out. Anyways, we'll get more into that on a different time. Anyways, it says after a marathon, a two-day weekend session of debate and Republicans' efforts to derail the package, the Senate approved the legislation known as the Inflation Reduction Act by a 51-50 party line vote. Basically, Kamala Harris came in and did the tiebreaker, which we expected to happen a lot more often this year because of the way the House is set up and whatnot. And I knew that was going to come to play, that anything that they want to pass, that's all they have to do is use Harris, especially if they have all their Dems on board. It's a really easy thing, you know what I mean? And Kamala Harris tiebreaker, and they pass it and they write it into legislation. So, folks, I really honestly think that there's a lot of pork in that bill, and it's going to affect places like the coal industry and fossil fuels and stuff like that. It's also going to affect, you know, when he says, I will not raise taxes on people above this price bracket, but when you raise taxes on certain other elements of the country, it will trickle down into the average person, aka we the people. So I like how they use, how they like to manipulate the whole situation and say, well, I'm not going to do this, but we're going to, you know, we're going after corporate America. We're going to go after this. Well, who do you think corporate America is going to pass that on to? If they have to pay more for stuff, they're going to pass that on to the consumer. And being that the environment they're in with inflation and so on and so forth, and the cost of goods the way they're at now, it's just going to make it worse for the average citizen in the United States, at least from my perspective. Maybe you guys agree or disagree. I'm not sure, but that's the way I'm looking at it. Anyways, to kind of wrap this this thing up, I wanted to show you something. I've been talking a lot about our military and what's been happening, and a lot of folks that I've talked to that have been military families are telling their children, no, now's not the time to join. I don't want you to join because of what they're teaching. It's just getting crazy what's happening, and you know, a lot of people call it the woke military, the new military moving forward, which is weakening our defenses per se. From my perspective, I don't know. That's just my opinion. Compared to when I was in the military and some of the other folks that I've dealt with that are either still in or getting out, and families that are military families and things that they've been telling me that they're just telling their children, no, now's not the time. Things aren't as they used to be. Anyways, this is why. This article kind of explains why. It says they were trying to force him to violate his religious beliefs. Marine punished for refusing Victor mandate. And this is truly a shame, folks. This is truly a shame. You know, I just don't understand how this is even constitutional. But anyways, it says wife of Marine Corps major disciplined for refusing to get victored on a religious grounds speaks out. It says a Marine Corps major selected for promotion to lieutenant colonel recently went through a board of inquiry process and was found guilty of conduct unbecoming of an officer for maintaining his religious conviction and refusing to get the victor for the health crisis. Sorry, you know, we have to be a little bit careful here and there. But anyways, he just wanted to, you know, his religious conviction, which is his God-given right? Especially, it's written into the Constitution, you know, freedom of religion, right? So to me, that's unconstitutional, and I don't think they care at this point, folks. And I think it's just going to get worse as time progresses on. They're going to keep on attacking our rights. So anytime someone says, "Well, you know, I'm willing to give up a little bit," all you have to do is they're going to start chipping away at these rights until they have all your rights taken away. Don't ever give them an inch, folks, when it comes to your rights, especially given it to you by the Constitution. Anyways, the Epoch Times spoke with Megan Hardwood, the wife of the officer in question, Major Nick Hardwood, while her husband will soon be separated from the Corps after 15 years. 15 years of honorable service, folks. Ms. Hardwood said the case represents an excellent example of the farce that the military legal system is. She said his religious beliefs and constitutional rights were trampled on, explaining that he is not being afforded the rights of every other American in this country. His request for religious accommodation was denied, as well as his subsequent appeal. Major Hardwood was given 48 hours to take the shot after receiving the denial of his appeal in December of 2021. They were trying to force him to violate his religious beliefs, but according to his wife, he maintained his religious conviction, which, kudos to him in regards to that, to holding the line per se, right? And as a result, he was relieved of his position and assigned to work elsewhere, but he's being separated from the Marine Corps after 15 years of honorable service. This is what's happening all over the place with our National Guard, in the Air Force, and the Marines, and the Army, all the different branches of our service. Folks are being kicked out left and right for having their constitutional rights violated, be it religious beliefs, or they just didn't want to do something specifically that they didn't agree with. And I know there's some folks out there like, well, when I was in the Army, yeah, when I was in the Army too, I got a ton of vaccinations, right there in basic, you're sitting there and you're getting jabbed on both sides with those air guns, as I like to call them. Yeah. But a lot of that stuff, most of that stuff, I want to say a lot of it, but most of it, has been around for decades and decades and decades. If you guys have been paying attention to media now, a lot of research has been coming out over the last several months in regards to the Charlie Victor, right? For this thing here. And there's a lot of things that are happening in regards to people that have been victored per se, right? Health issues. I'm trying to think of how to say that, but you guys get what I'm saying. I hope that you guys get what I'm saying in regards to that. There's a lot of people coming into a lot of issues who did this and are now dealing with a lot more health issues, and a lot of folks have also passed away in regards to that as well due to complications with that. Last time I looked, it was 1 in 5, and what I mean by that is 1 in 5 of these had some adverse reaction. I guess you can follow it with research and try to figure that out and move forward from there. Anyways, folks, I want to thank you all for being here in the Sunday Shift Report. Like I said, it's a little shorter than normal, but I got to go help my dad out, so I won't be in the premiere. Again, my apologies for not being here. I will rewatch it when I get home this evening, and respond to comments and stuff like that down in the comment section. But truly appreciate every single one of you do. I really do. And if you did get any value out of this, I know it's a little crazy, probably because Grey hasn't had enough coffee today, but all in all, I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of tidbits of information that I was working on. I had a few other things, but I just don't have the time to discuss it. Maybe we'll do that on the Tuesday live stream or something like that. We'll see. All in all, thank you again for being here. Mods, truly appreciate you guys running the show and keeping everybody running smoothly, per se, right? And if any folks out there, when it comes to if you have any issues and stuff like that, please feel free to email me. In regards to things that you guys may come across and stuff like that. I like to hear from you, the viewers. Sometimes you guys can provide some really great information. I appreciate that. Other than that, folks, remember, be safe out there. You are not alone. This is GreyMan. I'm out. I'll see you guys on the rebound. God bless.